I want you to think about the last time you and your partner talked about money. Not paying a bill together, not deciding where to eat. A real conversation about financial goals, about spending habits, about what you're both building toward. When was it? For most couples, the honest answer is never, or once, in the middle of an argument. And that silence, that one missing conversation, is quietly destroying more wealth than any bad stock pick, any failed business, any market crash ever could. Today, we're going to have the conversation most couples avoid their entire lives. And if you're not in a relationship yet, watch this anyway. Because the person you choose to share finances with will have more impact on your net worth than every investment decision you ever make combined. Stay until the end. I'm going to give you the exact framework for having this conversation without it turning into a fight. The silence that costs everything. Here's a number that should stop you cold. 41% of divorces cite financial disagreements as the primary cause. Not infidelity, not growing apart. Money. But here's what's even more alarming. It's not the money itself that destroys relationships and wealth. It's the conversation that never happened before the money became a problem. Research from Kansas State University found that couples who argue about money early in a relationship, regardless of income, are significantly more likely to divorce. And the couples who never argue about money, they're not agreeing. They're avoiding. Avoidance feels like peace. It is actually a slow accumulation of resentment, mismatched expectations, and financial decisions made in two completely different directions. Two people, two financial histories, two sets of beliefs about what money means, moving in the same house, but not toward the same future. And the cost? The average divorce in the United States costs between $15,000 and $30,000 in legal fees alone, not counting the divided assets, not counting the years of rebuilding, not counting the compounding wealth that never got built because two incomes became one, and one became chaos. So why don't couples talk about money? 3 reasons, and they're all psychological. Reason 1, money is identity. How you handle money is deeply tied to who you are. Your values, your upbringing, your fears. Criticizing someone's spending habits doesn't feel like financial feedback. It feels like a personal attack. So people stay quiet to avoid the wound. Reason 2, money reveals incompatibility. Somewhere deep down, many couples sense that if they really talked about money, they might discover they want completely different lives. One person wants to retire at 50 and travel. The other wants a big house and private school for the kids. As long as the conversation doesn't happen, the incompatibility stays invisible, and the relationship feels safe. Reason 3, financial shame. Debt, bad decisions, childhood poverty, financial trauma. Most people carry deep shame around their financial history. Vulnerability about money feels more exposing than almost any other kind of vulnerability. So people hide it, even from the person they're building a life with. Let's talk about what financial misalignment actually costs in dollars. Scenario 1, the saver and the spender. One partner saves aggressively, the other spends freely. No conversation, no agreement. The saver puts away $500 a month. The spender eliminates $400 of that through lifestyle creep, shared expenses that weren't agreed on, and purchases that drain the joint account. Net effective savings, $100 a month instead of $500. Over 20 years at 8% return, the difference between $500 and $100 a month is approximately $275,000. That's the cost of one unspoken conversation. Scenario 2, the risk mismatch. One partner wants to invest aggressively. The other is terrified of losing money. Result, The money sits in a savings account earning 2% while inflation runs at 4%. Effective negative return every year. For decades. Scenario 3. Hidden debt. One partner brings undisclosed debt into the relationship. The other finds out 2 years in. Beyond the trust damage, the compound interest on undisclosed debt, the derailed mortgage applications, the credit score impact. The financial cost of that single hidden conversation can easily exceed $100,000 over a lifetime. Before you can have the conversation, you need to understand what drives each of you. Psychologists identify 5 core money personalities. Most people are a combination of 2. The saver, security-driven. Money in the bank equals safety. Spending feels like loss. Overly cautious, sometimes to the point of sacrificing present quality of life. The spender, experience-driven. Money exists to be used. Life is now. Struggles with delayed gratification. Often confuses spending with self-care. The avoider, anxiety-driven. Doesn't open bank statements. Doesn't check balances. Financial paralysis from fear of bad news. The most financially vulnerable personality. The worrier, control-driven. Checks accounts obsessively. Worst-case scenario always running. Struggles to enjoy financial wins because the next threat is always visible. The giver, relationships-driven. Money flows toward people they love. Generous to a fault. Struggles to protect their own financial future while supporting everyone else's. Here's the key insight. None of these is wrong. Every personality has a logic. Everyone comes from somewhere real. The problem isn't the personality. The problem is when 2 people with different personalities never name them and spend years reacting to each other without ever understanding why. Here's the framework. 6 questions. 1 conversation. Have it over dinner, not during a fight. Question 1. What did money mean in your family growing up? This is the foundation. Every money belief you have was formed before you were 10 years old. Understanding each other's financial origin story creates empathy before judgment. Question 2. What does financial security mean to you? For some people, it's a number, $100,000 in savings. For others, it's a feeling, knowing bills are covered. For others, it's freedom, the ability to quit a job tomorrow. These answers are almost always different, and both need to be honored. Question 3. What are you most afraid of financially? Debt, poverty, losing everything, depending on someone else, being a burden. These fears drive more financial decisions than any spreadsheet ever will. Naming them out loud reduces their power. Question 4. What does our ideal life look like in 10 years? Not just financially, but specifically. Where do you live? Do you own or rent? Do you have kids? Do you work? Travel? This is where incompatibilities surface, and surfacing them early is infinitely better than discovering them at year 7. Question 5. What's our number? How much do you need to feel financially free? What's the monthly amount that covers your life with comfort? What's the retirement number you're both building toward? Alignment on numbers creates alignment on behavior. Question 6. How do we make financial decisions together? Joint accounts or separate? Who manages investments? Who tracks spending? What purchases require a conversation? What's each person's no questions asked spending limit? These 6 questions will tell you more about your compatibility and your financial future than 5 years of living together without them. Here's the truth. The most important financial decision you will ever make is not what you invest in. It's not when you start. It's not even how much you saved, it's who you build your financial life with. And whether you actually build it together or just happen to live in the same house while pulling in different directions. Money doesn't destroy relationships. Silence does. One conversation, honest, vulnerable, specific, can align two people toward a shared future more powerfully than any financial strategy ever written. You don't need to agree on everything. You need to understand each other. Schedule that conversation this week, not when it's convenient. This week, your relationship might depend on it, and your net worth almost certainly does. Next video drops Friday. We're covering the psychological reason why people who finally build wealth often destroy it within 3 years. It's called sudden wealth syndrome, and it affects lottery winners, inheritance recipients, and anyone who comes into money faster than their identity can handle. Subscribe. This one will make you rethink everything you believe about finally having enough. If this video made you want to have that conversation, share it with your partner. Send it right now, before you overthink it.